What's up, everyone? So Hugbunter just got his account completely wiped off of Reddit. His entire account is gone, and if you don't know who that is, basically he runs Dread, which is a massive darknet forum that exists. They discuss things like markets and OPSEC and everything in between. Now, Dread basically came into prominence in February of 2018 after Reddit decided to just completely nuke their DarkNetMarkets section in every related community in one fell swoop without telling anyone. Now, the thing to mention here is that subreddit alone had nearly 180,000 users. Like, this wasn't some little crappy subreddit that no one cared about. Hugbunter created Dread as a direct response to Reddit's censorship, basically. And within 3 months, 12,000 people had migrated there. And those are the official numbers. I think it was substantially more than that, but I was a pre-alpha member of Dread, which you could validate by looking at my 2 Happy Times 2 account if you care to actually check. I'm bringing this up because I actually like Hugbunter for being a trailblazer, because it's a difficult thing to do, especially nowadays, and essentially investing almost 8 years now of his life and countless amounts of money on a site that is essentially for everyone. And unlike most cleanup platforms that claim to support things like free speech, Dread actually delivers on that promise most of the time, right? Like, we got to put caveats on that. But there's no corporate sanitization or advertiser-friendly content policies, and no sudden rug pulls when those investors actually get nervous. Now, just to point out, I have made videos in the past about how toxic Dread has become over the years. Fixing something like that is kind of like trying to change course while you're driving an oil tanker. It's something that takes time, and I stand by that because everything that I said in this is factual. But it was almost right after that I ended up seeing a lot of these developments and updates really come about. And maybe that's just in my own head. Hugbunter could have been working on that the whole time, but that's when I really saw it put into high gear if they already were working on it. I had never seen any intent to actually improve anything. But I pretty much constantly bothered Hugbunter over many of the issues that are on Dread, and in turn, he fixed a lot of them. Yeah, credit where it's due. Like, I come at people, I also give them credit when they actually change things or fix things. But I think it's important that we do that and we hold people accountable. And with that, my main video content was the downfall of Dread is something that exists, but it's also being remedied. So it's important to point that out as well. Now, getting back to the actual point, I was talking with Hugbunter last night, and he ended up sending me a signed message after I went to bed and asked me to get it out there. So, as such, I bring you his signed message.
Hi. We have been down for many hours now. The servers are up and running. However, I am experiencing an issue causing the main VM to crash. This means that currently, the web server is not running, and you won't be able to pass the CAPTCHA to access Dread. I am working on this issue and will be trying to avoid sleeping until it is back up and running. I'd like to say 24 hours, maximum, before I can solve it. Hopefully a lot sooner, and definitely hoping it won't be any later. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thanks for your patience. Stay safe.
So I hope he doesn't actually avoid sleep. Really doesn't solve anything. It kind of screws you up even more. But you can verify that actual signed message yourself, because I've got his public PGP key and the fully signed message posted on my site for those of you that don't have his public PGP key. But you really shouldn't just take my word for it with stuff like this. You should actually go and verify it, and I'll make sure that I pin the actual link for the post in the top comment of this video. Reddit wasn't always like this, though, right? Aaron Schwartz, who co-founded Reddit back in 2005, when his company Infogami merged with the platform, and he rewrote Reddit's entire code base in Python. Schwartz described himself as a free speech absolutist who believed information should be freely available to everyone, not locked behind paywalls or corporate gatekeepers. And if you know Hugbunter, a lot of this probably sounds fairly familiar because he has a lot of the same views. Now, Aaron died in 2013, tragically, and Reddit removed him from their founder's page in an attempt to try and rewrite history like Winston in 1984. So if we fast forward, though, to March of 21st of 2018, and Reddit basically implements a new content policy that bans communities overnight that facilitate transactions for certain goods. But more importantly, it bans communities who don't, but talk about things that Reddit's advertisers dislike. So after that, they banned DarkNetMarkets along with EU RC Sources, DarkNet UK, and a ton of other subreddits that existed. And it had nothing to do with stuff like illegal activity because those subreddits explicitly banned sourcing and transactions, so that makes no sense. They were essentially discussion forums, harm reduction spaces, and places where people left reviews for vendors and markets and stuff like that. Reddit announced API pricing changes in June of 2023, charging 24 cents per 1,000 API calls starting on June 1st. And Apollo, one of the most popular third-party Reddit apps, would have been hit with a $20 million annual bill under that specific pricing structure, if you will. Now, Reddit claimed that this was about AI companies scraping their data, but they actually went public with their IPO on March 21st of 2024 at $34 per share with a $6.4 billion valuation. Also, all of their supposed data is user-generated, so keep that in mind. Google paying them $60 million annually for API access, and Reddit signed data licensing deals worth $203 million over 2 or 3 years. Now, that said, I'm sure pimping out the user base for almost $300 million has absolutely no motive here as to why they would go through with a tomahawk and cut out a bunch of communities. My point here is that the company that Aaron Schwartz helped build on principles of things like free information access is now monetizing every byte of user-generated data while purging communities that don't actually fit their advertiser-friendly storyline. They just totally wiped out third-party apps that users actually preferred and drove most of their active moderators with the API changes away, and experienced site-wide protests with communities actively going dark. Now, mind you, they never actually cared about any of that because they don't care about the users. It's the same reason why they'll just wipe out accounts made with Tor or in some cases VPNs. It's because when you do that, that account isn't worth as much to sell the data of. I actually told Hugbunter months ago that Reddit was a shithole, because it is, and that he should establish accounts elsewhere. I'll show you a censored screenshot of that conversation because I specifically warned about this exact scenario on more than one occasion, but to be honest with you, I'm just too lazy to search for all the instances where I actually said this, given the fact that I'm already out of scope for what this video was supposed to be about. Anyway, whether he acted on that advice isn't really something that I can confirm yet. I really wanted to. I was hoping to be able to get in touch with him before actually recording this, but that just wasn't possible. If that changes in the future, though, I'll add his new account or social media to the pinned post in this video. Now, all in all, I think Hugbunter's ban is kind of just the latest confirmation that Reddit's original principles are completely DOA. Like, for anyone who didn't already know that, you can verify Hugbunter's PGP signed message, like I said, on my site. Don't trust me. Go verify it yourself. Now, in the last video, I ended up basically rambling in the last part of the video, and I said, stay safe, stay aware. There are real adversaries out there, which is actually really awesome. It was totally by accident. So I think going forward with that, I want to use that for my new ending in videos. I love to hear what you guys think about that. If you think it'll get redundant way too quick or whatever. A lot of the times I'm redundant enough, so I'm not going to say it again in this video. So I'll see you in the next video.